Good evening, all participants. Good evening, sir. So, welcome to the Plexus 2D Boot Camp organized by School of Civil Engineering, Lovely Professional University, Punjab. So, again, the instruction, sir already given the instruction that please keep your mic off and the video also turned off. So, today we have a day 2. In the day 2, basically, we will see that the rigid footing and the flexible footing. And in this, we'll see some objectives in the load settlement. So here we can see this is a settlement of a circular footing on sand. So this is assumed as a circular footing of 1 meter radius, and this is the 2 meter diameter of circular footing, where we have this uniform load, and this base is the sand. This is totally sand, and we have to see what is the settlement due to the load on this footing, on this sand, in the rigid and flexible in both cases. So as you can see in this, we have this 4 meter of depth, and this we have created as a 5 meter, because whatever the stress distribution is goes beyond of this footing, so that will be covered in this area. It should not be like that. Okay, it will go like this, and then the boundary is up to here. So boundary we have created well enough, right? Then we have objective in this. What we have to means expectation from this model, that is, we will start with the new project, creating the asymmetric model, because it is a circular footing. That's why we have go for the asymmetric model. Then creating soil stratigraphy using the borehole features. Then creating and assigning the material data set for the Mohr-Coulomb model. Different models are there, we'll see. Define the prescribed displacement, then create the footing using plate feature, then create the assigning material data set for plates, then create load. Once it is done, then generate the mesh, and then initial stress using the K-Node procedure. We'll see that what is the K-Node procedure. Then defining the plastic calculation, and then activating and modifying the value of loads in the calculation phase. View the results, selecting the points for curves, and then create the load settlement curve at the last, right? So this is our objective for today. So let's move to the software. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So first, starting with this interface, we already know this interface. Yesterday we have seen this. So now first we'll go with the new project. Start with the new project. So here we will see the two cases. One is the rigid footing, another is the flexible footing. So first we'll start with the rigid footing. And in comments, whatever you can write in the comments. So we'll write here settlement of circular. I will go slowly, okay? Do not need to go fast. Select settlement of the circular footing on sand. So first we'll go the rigid footing, case 1. So now in model, as this is circular footing, so we have to select as asymmetric. We'll take it the half of the footing, not fully 2 meter, 1 meter radius we'll take. Element.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me,
Yes.
sir. Sir, can you just wait for a second? My software crashed. Can you please elaborate one more time, please?
Okay, you will get the this recording of this session, so you can go through that slowly with that also, because if we'll stop here, then it will take time again.
No. I have entered the title on the previous.
Yeah, that's why. If you will
yes,
do
sir.
with me, then it will take time.
Okay.
So you can recap with the recording.
Okay. So
Okay.
only you will be
Right
doing
now,
here.
yeah, you can just understand this one, then you can
Okay.
go with the recordings. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Then in
Okay.
model, we will go with the asymmetric, then node. Again, yesterday we have understand this noded, what is 6 noded and 15 noded. Units, I will keep this the default. And then in this contour is that soil stratigraphy. What is the soil stratigraphy? So normally we have kept is an x direction 5 and y direction, which is vertically 4. So x minimum is this left one and x maximum is the right one. X minimum is the bottom one and y maximum is the top one. So I have taken is this one, 5 into x and 4 in the y. So in the next, if we see here, these all will be the default. Then this is not, then we'll click on the OK. Right. So now we have created one, this properties, project properties. Now next is the soil stratigraphy. We have to create the sand stratified, that sand layer. So for that, you can do two things. Either you can go here, create borehole, or you can click here itself in the center. So once we click here, so this type of interface will get. And for creating the layers, we have to click on the origin at the center. Then this modified soil layer will come. This top of window will come here. So in this, we have to create the layers. So soil layers, we have different options here. Soil layers, water condition, initial conditions, pre-consolidation, and field data. So these are used for the different purposes when we have the different boreholes. But now we have only one borehole for the one footing. So we'll take only one borehole for this and we'll add layer here. So when we add the layer, so top is the 4 and bottom is 1. So it is from y direction. If there is 0 and this 4. Head, we will assume that 2 meter at the center of the this sand layer, right? So once this is done, then now we have to assign the material of the sand. So now sand material, for assigning of the sand material, you can click on the material option, or you can click on from here also. In this vertical window, we have given this material, show material, or you can click on this one, or also you can check from here, show material. So we have the different options for material set. So I have to click here. Then soil interface, here we have different project materials. Like if we need to soil interface, then we go with this. If we need plates, then we'll go with this. Geogrids, and then embedded beam row, and then anchors. So anything we can select, right? So here we need the sand. So sand comes under the soil and interface. So for that, I have to add here the sand material. So I need to click on new. So I write here the sand, right? The model is the Mohr-Coulomb model. So different models are there, like linear elastic model, hardening soil model, HS small, soft soil creep. So according to the soil, because sand comes under the Mohr-Coulomb model. Mostly we learn the Mohr-Coulomb model. We'll use the soft soil model in case of the clay, right? And most of the time, or user defined model also we will see in different application, but here we will use the Mohr-Coulomb model. Then drainage condition is, different drainage conditions are there. So we have assumed the head at 2 meters, so we'll take it as a drained condition, because we'll not keep it as an undrained condition. So this is a drained condition where it is a drained and long-term material behavior in which stiffness and strength are defined in terms of the effective properties. So we'll keep it as a drained. Color, you can provide different colors according to your requirement, or if there are the different layers, different stratified soil, then we can use the different colors. Otherwise, it automatically give the different colors. Now we have to fill the properties. So normally these properties we can get from the lab data, from the lab experiments. This is the unsaturated soil soil unit weight. So I'm taking it as 17, and this saturated unit weight as a 20. And this advance is not there because we have kept it as a simple right now. So if I go to the parameters, so in parameters, now I need to fill this Young's modulus. In stiffness, Young's modulus, and this is 1.3 E4. If I want to add e power 4 or e power minus 4, e power 10 raised to power minus 4, so I will add as a e minus 4. 10 raised to power minus 4 means e minus 4, or if I write it then e4, or either I can write it as a 13000, because it is a e power 4, or this is simply you can write it, so it will come like this. Poisson ratio 0.3, and then we need no this alternative do not need to change, then because most of the values, you know that in the geotechnical engineering, when we talk about the below the ground surface, assumptions are more. So whatever we can get, that we have to put here. So whenever we go with the some numerical and some real time data, so at that time we have only these few values only. They like the stiffness or C phi xi or permeability, because we can find the permeability, and these two, gamma saturated or unsaturated values. So here I have to put C, cohesion, where cohesion is the 1. Then angle of internal friction, I have to take 30, and psi is the 0 here. So all other are the constant values. Here again I have not put anything because I keep it as untrained. Then thermal is not interface, again this is not for this application especially. We'll use further when we increase the difficulties, or when we go for the other applications. So now click on OK, or here also again I can click OK, come back. So if I kept here, so it will create another borehole. So I will take the select option. Now I can select this sand layer or this soil strata. Now I can assign 2 or 3 way. One way is to open this material set, drag this sand layer to here, it will directly assign, or I can click on the center, or from here I can change the material as the sand, so it will be applicable as a sand here, right? So now we have created the soil stratified layer with the soil properties, right? So up to here we have completed up to this soil layer. Now next we have to move to the structure, this next tab, which is called as the define the structural element, right? So in the structural element, one more thing is here, the grid is provided, right? So these grids are one differences there, 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. But sometimes we need to 1.5 also, 1.7, 1.8 also. So at that time, if we need 1.5, so we can increase or decrease these grids, and that is we can change from this option. This option is given here, snapping option. So snapping option, if we increase this spacing as 1.5, so it will change its like this, means it comes at the center now here. So same, we can change according to our requirement, but better is that if we require at the center somewhere, so we can use the command option. So command option will give us the that easily we can draw our diagram at, or we can draw the point at center also with the command option. We'll see that one also. So in the structural element, we have to define this structural load, because 1 meter is the radius, so we have take it one side only. So in this we have to create here this create line displacement. We create line displacement, and in line displacement we'll start from 0 to 1, right? And this is the, and as this is the rigid footing, so I'm directly applying the load here. I'm not creating anything like plate here, directly applying the load, so that this load will be shows the deformation in this directly in the sand, right? Now when I click on this, so two things we have to do. We have to use on this left hand side Selection Explorer and Model Explorer. We will use these two tabs or these two areas at the most of the time for making some changes in this interface. So here if I use the line displacement, so this would be a fixed displacement in the x direction. So that means it is showing like as a rigid footing, and this I have to change as the minus 0.5, minus because of the for the downward side. That's why we use the minus here, right? So this is applied now. Now once this is completed, so up to here we have completed the soil, created the soil, specified.
So we say it will be 0.05, 5 centimeter, not 50 centimeter for displacement.
No, 0.0, yeah, 0.05.
Oh, 0.05. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Right. So if I add this one, so the deformation is high. If I add this 0.5, either that can be failed during the calculation. So that checking can be comes into the calculation part. So sometimes it get failed due to the changing in the values here. So now soil and structure is done. Now we move to the mesh. So now we have to generate the mesh here. So this is the option here to generate mesh. Click on this. Now in this case, you can change the element distribution from very coarse, medium, fine, and very fine. So the default I am taking here medium. Okay. Okay. And view mesh. So now this is the initial mesh generated after applying the soil and structural parts. So one more thing is here that every time whenever we are changing in the soil or structural part, then we have to create the mesh. Then we will move to the further condition. Further, if every time if we are changing anything here, then we have to create the mesh after that. Then we'll get the correct answer. Otherwise, this will not move further this. So we have to create the mesh after changing in the soil or structural part. So now mesh is generated, and we have this view mesh we have checked here, and after that we have to close it from here, right? So this is the mesh you can see, and this triangulars are there, nodes are there, stress points already generated. That will generate when we calculate it. Now close from here. Now next one is define and perform the calculation. For that, flow condition and the stage construction is there. Flow condition only required when we have the water table there, the dedicated water table, and we want to check the pore water pressure also. So in stage construction, first one is the initial phase. So phases are used for doing the task in the step by step. But now here we have only one task is here, only load is there applicable on this area. So only one phase we will create here. So in this initial phase is always created, and this is known as the first initial phase. So this will always created, and this is known as the initial phase where calculation time. First one is the calculation time, K-naught procedure. So K-naught procedure is the direct generation of initial effective stress, pore pressure, and the state parameters. Equilibrium not guaranteed in this case. And gravity loading. These two, most of the time we will use these two, K-naught procedure of the gravity loading. So gravity loading is the initial stresses from the finite element calculation, and it is to be used for the non-horizontal layers. Non-horizontal layers means when we have the slopes, means if we have this type of slopes, right, then we use the gravity loading, or wherever we have the this non-horizontal layers, there we have to use the gravity loading, otherwise use the K-naught procedure. So now we will use the first K-naught procedure. Then loading type is the stage construction. Then this is default one. Then this is the phreatic or steady state groundwater flow. So pore water pressure calculation is not there, so we'll keep it as a phreatic. Then there is the estimated, and time is not there because we are not calculating the water pressure here, anything, or seepage. Okay, other things are the default. Then we'll create the new phase here. So in new phase, we'll activate this load because of the, this is the, we are assuming that this is the footing, rigid footing. So in new phase, we'll create the new phase here, and we can give it name as the footing. Any name you can give. So in this, all the parameters are same, and we'll click on OK. And in this case, we'll activate it. So this is a load displacement. Activate, or you can activate from here also, and you can activate from here also. So if I uncheck this, this is deactivated. If I check this, this is activated. So easily you can work with the Model Explorer, right? Or you can go through the this one also. So in the both cases, we can activate the this load. Now finally, when it is activated, then we have to check for its deformation, because whenever it goes, so we have to keep this boundary condition also fixed from the whole sides. So that will come under the model condition, deformation, and this should be x minimum, means this side is the normally fixed, this side will be the normally fixed, y minimum, this bottom side is the fully fixed, and y maximum is the free. So these are the boundary condition for this. So up to here it is done. Then finally we have to go for the calculation, execute the calculation. So calculation we can execute from here. This is the calculate. So click on calculate. So here it is asking for select the node and the stress points. So initially I'm ignoring this and calculating the results. Okay, it is done. So now view the calculation results. So wait a second. Okay, now this is the result, which is showing the deformed mesh. So this is the deformation of 0.05 meter showing, and we can also change the scale of this deformation. As yesterday we have already seen this. We can change the scale from here. This is auto scale at 5. If it true scale, that is the 1, but in true scale it is not totally showing. So a small settlement is there. Even the value is same, but the showing of it is there. So I'm changing it auto scale again. So this is the deformed mesh. So now 2 or 3 things we can get from output from here. One thing is the displacement. So displacement come from this total displacement, and this one. So it is showing in the color coding. What is it? Displacement is here. So I'm closing this. So at this point, where the dark red is there, so there is the 0.052 meter, and where is this dark blue, there is a 0 displacement is there. And also we can check in this contour map. So where is the large displacement and where is the lesser? So it is showing here from maximum to minimum, right? And also we can check in this arrow. This is showing the different ways are there, like, for the results. Another thing which we can see, that is the stresses. So in principal stresses, effective principal stress, we can get maximum value and the minimum value. So maximum value, and it is also showing at element and stress point it is giving this value. Like this 58, this 5426 stress point, it is showing the maximum value and minimum values here. So maximum value is 0.01721 10 to the power minus 6 kilonewton per meter square, and minimum is minus 279.7 kilonewton per meter square. So effective principal stresses also we can get from these outputs, right? So now up to here, this is a rigid footing, and now we'll move to the flexible footing, right? So I'm closing it here. So this is the flexible footing done, this rigid footing done. So we have to save the one more thing I have to give in between. That's what we have to save in between also. If we are not saving this, so again it may be corrupted, and it may be sometimes it hanging problem is there. So your whole work can be vanished. So we have to save it every time. So for this flexible footing, we have to again save as this project. Save project as flexible footing. We have to create the same project from this rigid footing. So if I save as, so now we can again start with the flexible footing. So first of all, I have to remove this load from here. Okay. Line displacement. Okay. Come to the structural part, because anything we want to change in this, so we have to come with the soil and structural part. So I will click here and then delete this option from here. So this line we have remaining here, right? And now for the flexible, we have to create this as a plate. So if I create it here, so from here we have to create it as a plate option. So once this plate option is created, and now for this plate, I have to give the property, because this plate is I have some property, and also we have to provide a line load over here also. The line load on this. So this is line load over the plate. Now it will work as the flexible footing. So earlier rigid footing means we have just kept our foundation directly apply the load on this part, and now we have created first plate and then apply the load on that plate, which is showing as the flexible footing, right? So for this plate, how we can give the plate, and now we have to create the material to the plate. So two options are again there. Either you can click on the show material, go to the plate option and click on the new, and then put the values here, whatever value is required. Or what you can do, you can just go this material option here, not assigned here, click on the plus option, it will go directly there. So if I write here as a plate, and this is the material is the elastic and isotropic, and this option is the normal stiffness is 5 E6 means 10 to the power 6, and this flexible rigidity EI is the 8.5 E3, then weight is 0 and Poisson ratio is also 0. These four things are required here. And click on OK. And now no need to assign it because it is automatically assigned when I click on the plus option, right? So once this material is assigned, so next is the mesh generation. Now I have changed the structure or soil part. Either I will change in the soil part or in the structure. So next part is the mesh generation. So again, click on the mesh, and I kept it as a medium as the default and generate the mesh. Then view mesh. Now you can see this is the mesh generated after the changing in this footing from rigid to flexible footing, right? Now I'm again closing this, and next part is the staged construction calculation part. So in the calculation part, the first initial phase is always there. Initial phase is always there. And in this first initial phase, we'll click on this. Loading type is stage construction, same. This is K0 procedure. Loading type is stage construction. Yes, and this is phreatic. This is no temperature. No. Yeah, this is first one is always same. Now in this second, we have the plastic, and this all thing again the same. But here what we have to do, we have to apply the load. In this case, we have to apply the load, and this load will be you can see on the selection explorer. I have click on this, activate this line load, because in previously one also we have activated this load at the minus 0.05 kilonewton. Here also we have to activate this load at the second phase, and this will be minus 188 kilonewton per meter. Okay, right? So once this is done, now already we have applied the plate option. We have provided the properties. Now we have created the line load, and we have applied this value here, and everything is done. So now either we can calculate it as we have done the previously without ignoring of this stress notes, or we can provide the stress note this time. So how we can provide that? We click on the select points for curve, because now we'll create the curve also. So once we select this, so where is the maximum? Where was the maximum for this showing the deformation or settlement? That is the 0.4. I think that is a 0.4. So if I delete it from here, where is it 0.4? We can check in this spot. Yeah, here we have this area where we can check the coordinates. So we require to get the coordinates at around 0.4, or we can write here also. Search the closest point, means here this is x is 0, y is 4. Search the closest point, and this is the node 4. First node will be there. So it came in this case. Then update it. Once it is updated, then calculate. Right. So this footing one is really.
Plate element is not activated, sir.
Yeah, this plate also I have to activate. So for activating of the plate, we can directly check this, right? So line load and plate both will be activated here. So I have to again ignore calculate faces, calculate all faces. Now it is done. Yeah. Now if I see the results, this is the deformed mesh, and if I check the deformation, now you can see in the flexible case the maximum value is 0.05023. Deformed mesh, it is total displacement, and now it is showing this way. And if we check the contour, the values, the main thing is in the Plexus software is how to analyze the things after your results, how you can change the things and how to analyze, how to show the results in your paper, in your research. That is the main thing. Otherwise everyone get these results. So how to create the graphs, what graphs you have created in between which parameters. So that is the important in this. So now if we check the these forces on this footing, so we have to just click over here, select the structure, and then I can double click on the structure. So now here you can show the different forces on the plate. So forces you can check from here, the axial force, this type of axial forces are there. This is center, this is outside, and this is shear force, how it is showing. So you can just check the different values you can get, and you can quote these diagrams in your papers, research papers. And then this hoop, this is showing is hoop forces, axial forces, shear forces, bending moment diagram you can create through this, and you can also table for the plate force envelope. So you can get the different these forces for the different nodes. So in which nodes the maximum, minimum that you can get from these results, right? So after that, next one is the creating the load displacement curve. Last one is that is remaining now. So for creating the lowest displacement curve, again, I have to go with the view calculation results. And here the option. Now you can see different options are there: file, view, different views, rulers, and these things you can change: project, geometry, mesh, deformation, and deformation stresses. These are the output forces you can get through select that plate. And curve is this curve manager. So if I click on the curve manager, then I have to click on the new curve. And for the new curve, I need on the node 4, because at node 4 I need the curve with the, so in x direction displacement is there, which is this u, and y direction is the load, which is denoted as this m stage. And when I created the curve for this, so it comes like this, right? So this is showing the displacement and this is showing the load. So this is the load versus displacement curve. So as the load is increasing, the displacement is also increasing, right? So this is the final objective, that to create the curve. And if you want to change anything in this, you can just click on this chart option or this node option, and you can change the most of the things. Either you want to change the its or this exchange the axis or orthogonal axis, flip the horizontal, vertical. If you want to change the axis, sometimes you need the load versus displacement on this way. In y-axis displacement is there, in x-axis we have the this load, and if I flip it vertically, so this way it will come. Load versus displacement. Yeah, this one. Now you can get this type of results. So normally when we are plotting these curves manually, so we'll plot like this. This side, x side, we have load, and in y side we have this settlement or deformation, right? So I think now we have completed all the objectives. What are the objectives? These are the objectives after generating the mesh. The initial stresses using the K-naught procedure done, plastic calculation done. Yeah, selecting point for curves. So which point we have to select for curve? Where we have large maximum deformation, or then low displacement curve. Okay, then I'm closing the today's session here. Save the both one. And okay, so I will provide you these both Plexus files which we have created today.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. So now if we can discuss something about this.
Yeah, thank you, Vidyasagar. Thank you very much for your excellent interactive session. I think participants must have understood the basic commands that is used to analyze the problem of footing, where you have considered both rigid footing and flexible footing. And I can see some of the questions are here. You can see here in the chat box, a few people have asked questions, so we can give solution to that questions. But before that, I would like to understand from the participants that how was the session. Anybody who wants to speak, they can unmute and he or she can unmute and then speak about the session.
It was a very great session, sir. Really interesting things we have learned today. Thank you, Vidyasagar sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Amarpreet. Anyone else who want to speak?
So I want to ask something that I have used Abacus, and the one thing that I have
Yeah.
countered after the analysis in the in the analysis completed is how to find the results, like how to visualize something which is, which is not there, which is not in there in the options. For example, stress strain curves, how it's behaving on the different loads at different time. So these kind of things that I counter, which is a little bit tough for me when I'm doing analysis.
Okay, when we are doing the results now, then two things are there. One is the figure is there that showing in the diagram, or second is the tables are given there. So each nodes you can calculate, each nodes what is the results are there. So whenever you go with the nodes, then you can get the different results. If you show in the picture in that photo or graphical view, then it is just understanding that how it is moving the curve, what is the diagram in that. And one question is there, how to determine the contact pressure between the plate and sand. So when we are checking the bending moment diagram, in that options are there. So that's why I'm saying that the making the application or making the and getting the results, analysis of the results are the different thing. So the research purpose is that analyze the results. So how you can analyze that is on your practice, how much you can get the results. And this is as a software, you can do anything in that. You can just practice over that, so you will get the more results. So if you want to go to the point to point, then we have the tables there. If I can show you some tables. Wait, I'm opening the software.
Yeah, Mohammad Zala. I think
Yes.
let me add something to this. See, when it comes to analyzing the results, you should understand that where we are interested. Okay, what kind of results in which we are interested? Are you interested in the deformation? Are you interested in the stress contour, or you are interested in factor of safety? Because see, in geotechnical engineering, you are interested in these things only, na? You want to get deformation pattern, or you want a deformation pattern. You want to see the stress contour. You also want to check whether the stress contour or deformation contours are within the boundary or not. Is there any boundary effect? So as in one of the output, it was clearly shown that when you draw the contour is completely confined in the boundary. Is it not? It means it was not reaching to the boundary. Can you show that? Vidyasagar, can you show the output? So from there you can be.
This is the output.
Yeah. So can you just draw the contour?
Yeah, this is the deformation.
Now you see here. You see here, even in the shaded this thing. Can you show the shaded contour shadings? So now you see here. When the outer boundary is blue, that means that your boundary effect is not there. The boundaries are away from the stress zone or displacement zone. So that means it ensures that your boundaries are away from the problem statement, and then you don't have any boundary effect. That is one thing that you can ensure from the results or output that you are going to see. Then second thing is maximum deformation. So obviously it is obvious that maximum deformation will be just near to the footing only, where you are applying the load. That is the reason red is just near the footing. Okay.
Yeah, this totally dark red.
Yeah. And then because you are going to design the footing, so you will be interested in knowing the amount of bending moment, amount of shear force, or axial forces that are acting in the footing. So
In this footing, where yeah,
in this
that
footing,
also you can check through this. Select the structure
select
and
the
then
structure and
double click on this plate.
yeah.
So you will get only this plate value here. Now you can change this through these forces. You need axial force, then you can find this maximum value and minimum value. If you want to get the in between also, so you have to click on this table option and then you can get in between also.
Even there is a cross section, like you can draw a cross section and you can see that how much force is there.
Yeah,
lot of
the cross section is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Can you just draw the cross section so that at a particular location you can find out.
So I think in this it is not, but then 3D option is there, cross section.
In other options, like when you apply the support system, okay, for an excavation, so there also you can see that how the bending moment is varying with depth. Okay, so a lot of options are there. Based on these data, you design your structural element, is it not?
Yes, sir.
Based on the bending moment, amount of bending moment, amount of shear force or amount of axial force that are acting on the plate, you design your footing, okay, and then you can make sure that your footing is safe. Then comes to amount of stress which is acting on the soil and the factor of safety that is available to you. Even for this problem also you can get the factor of safety. Maybe you can use, maybe Vidyasagar, you can demonstrate that how factor of safety is calculated for this problem statement. You can do 5C reduction technique is there
Yeah,
available as an inbuilt option.
Also.
Yeah,
For
as an
that,
inbuilt option, it is available. It will take hardly 2 minutes. You can just demonstrate how factor of safety is calculated, because there was a question also. So you go to the calculation mode. You add stages like in the second
in
phase.
stages I have to create the new phase and just change from here design approach, safety, and I think 0. And then okay.
And then you can do the phase 2 calculation. The phase 1 calculation was for deformation or stresses calculation, and phase 2 will be for factor of safety. So now you can see it is calculating the factor of safety for this footing. It will be definitely high.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, it is showing here like it is going up around 1.2.
Yeah.
So if I show this, yeah.
So don't worry about this the exaggerated image, which can be scaled down and it can be made to the true scale. You can get so your interest is, so you need to understand that for what purpose you are using the software, what kind of output you are expecting, so that you can use that output for the design purpose. If the factor of safety is less, in this case, I think it is coming how much?
From where I can get this? Actually,
You have to go to the output and phase 2 calculation. Phase 2.
Yeah, phase 2 calculation is there, right?
Phase 2, and then you can get the output. Have you considered that?
Yeah, I have. Yes.
Okay. Phase 2. What is written here? Phase 2.
Yeah, phase 2. This is a footing phase. This is for I have checked for the
safety.
Sir, again, excuse me, sir.
Yeah,
Again,
yes.
generation of new Karus manager we can go, sir. There we can get stages like SF. Is the factor of safety versus load that applied? It gives the factor of safety value, sir.
So not an issue, not to worry.
No,
okay.
This will conclude in what that the embankment part.
Yeah. We will cover the factor of safety part here. The embankment part. Here also you can do that. That is not an issue. So
sir.
I was just trying to answer the question that you should understand the understand your interest. Okay, for what purpose you are using the software and what kind of output you are expecting, so that you can use those outputs. So normally we are interested in this deformation or stresses acting in the soil, or the bending moment, shear force or axial forces acting in the elements, so that we can design our component. So hope I am able to satisfy you with my answer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I get your point, and it was very good the way you showed. The results was I didn't know about the way it was in the phase two. Yeah, it was good. Thank you so much, sir.
I think, yeah, yeah. So I can see there is another question. How to find out the contact pressure between the plate and the sand? So you can select the node which is closer to the plate and sand, which is connecting the soil and the plate element, and then uh, on that node you can get the amount of stress which is acting, and then you can get you can assume that this is the contact pressure between the contact pressure of between plate and sand. So that is the reason you were selecting the nodes, is it not? The purpose of selecting node was to obtain the amount of stress at that particular location. See, Krishna has asked some question like put some idea on application of flexible footing and rigid footing. Krishna, are you here?
Yes, sir. I am here, sir.
Okay. So what is your idea of flexible and rigid footing?
In
If you
field
have,
applications, I am asking, sir.
okay, okay, you are asking because you want to know. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So rigid, what do you mean by term rigid? What do you mean by term rigid?
Not allowing displacement, I think.
Rigid means it will not allow any kind of deformation in the body. Okay.
Yes,
Rigid
sir.
body means what? What? I'm just explaining in a very crude way. Okay. If suppose your body is rigid, then you are not going to allow you will not be deformed. Is it not?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Under stress. And when you are not deforming, suppose you have placed a rigid footing on
Yes, sir.
the soil, and you have put the load on the top of the footing. Then under the load, this footing is going to settle uniformly, is it not?
Yes,
Because
sir.
it is not going to deform.
Yes, sir.
But when it comes to flexible footing, the flexible footing deforms under the load. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And it will adjust to the contact pressure. As someone was talking, it will adjust to the contact pressure. You can get the idea of this rigid footing and flexible footing in any of the standard textbooks that are available. Okay, so that is the reason when you were analyzing the rigid footing, you gave the uniform deformation. Is it not? Uniform deformation of 0.05 meter. Why
Yes,
you
sir.
are giving the uniform deformation? Because the footing was rigid. But when you were analyzing a flexible footing, you placed a steel plate, and then you applied the load on the steel plate, because the steel plate will deform according to the stiffness of the soil. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that is the reason if you Vidyasagar, if you are able to show the deformation of the flexible footing, it will not be uniform. Please check that if it is uniform, or if it is uniform, then that means that the stiffness of the soil is uniform. That is the reason it may be deforming uniformly. Is it not? Can we check? Can we just check? Can you
Yes, sir.
confirm?
I'm opening it. This is the deformation for the flexible footing. And if I open the rigid footing, this is the deformation. Actually, in the rigid footing, in the flexible footing, we have created a plate. So in that plate, we have given the stiffness in that plate. So that plate is the flexible, so that it is showing that the same deformation, deformed mesh is same in the both cases. But when we talk about the flexible and the rigid footing, so in that case, the deformation is in flexible footing is in the center is more rather than the corners. When it is a
So
rigid footing,
that we wanted to confirm, but that we wanted to confirm, is it visible from that
no, it is not visible here in the mesh. It is not showing. But if I show the because again we cannot create the
if a deformation
stresses
contour,
or
can you show the deformation contour so that from the deformation we can understand why displacement
total
in case of
displacement.
flexible footing?
This is the contour. This is for the rigid footing.
For flexible footing, because in rigid footing you have already given the uniform deformation.
So we can see here. It's contour like this. So the small changes are there. The maximum value is showing it that there is a 0.05. Here is 0.05023 meter. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just try to understand. I'm just giving you a very crude and basic example to understand what exactly. Can I take over the screen sharing
Yes,
from
yes,
you?
yes.
Okay. Just a very simple and very crude way of explaining the things. You must have understood this single degree of freedom system. Is it not, where there was a spring? Okay. And a mass is connected, and this has a stiffness K. So if you displace this mass by delta, okay, so what is the equation? F is equal to K into delta.
Same.
This is where K is the stiffness matrix. If you talk about spring, it is stiffness, but then when you talk about 2D or 3D elements, okay, it forms a stiffness matrix. Is it not?
Yes, sir.
Now you see, if you try to solve this, there are two unknowns. One is F and another is delta. So you cannot solve two unknown using one equation. That means either you have to provide delta displacement or you have to give force. If you give force, it will solve for delta. If you give delta, it will solve for force. Is it not?
Yes, sir.
So in the first case, when you it was just a demonstration that for rigid footing you just tried to show that if you give a displacement of 5 centimeter, you are going to get the corresponding load force. Okay. In case of flexible footing, it was demonstrated that if you apply load F, you will get delta. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
So both way you can do. Now, when we talk about the load settlement curve, one question is there: how to get the load settlement curve and how to get the ultimate load. Okay, so how do you do that? Because you have to provide. How do you get load settlement curve? You provide on x-axis it is strain, and on y-axis it is stress. Okay, strain means it is corresponding to displacement, and stress is corresponding to load. Okay, so then you get load settlement curve. So what you have to do, either you can provide a defined level of displacement on the x-axis like 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 like that. Okay, and get the corresponding load at a particular node. At a particular node, suppose this is your footing and you want to get load settlement curve here at this point A, at this node A. So for node A, you can select, every time you can select node A, and corresponding to displacement, predefined displacement of 5 centimeter, you can get the corresponding load, is it not, on that particular node? Then next run, in the next trial, you apply 10 centimeter and get the corresponding load, then for 15 and for 20, then 30 and 50 like that. And then you can get the load settlement curve like this. And once you get the load settlement curve, you can easily get the ultimate value. Are you getting my point? You will get the Q ultimate from here. This is one way. Second way is like you apply the load, and you apply the load like 50 kPa, 50, 100, 200, 300 kPa. You can go keep on increasing to 500, 600, maybe 1000 like that. You keep increasing the load and then read the corresponding displacement at this node A. And once you have this load settlement data, is it not, or 50, 100, 150, 200, 300, you have to really go up to 2000 or 3000, something like that. And then corresponding to each load, you have to read the settlement at node A, which is closer to the footing, maybe at the middle of the footing or somewhere, which is critical, and read the settlement. Once you have this data in the tabular form, you can easily draw the load settlement curve like this. And once you have this kind of load settlement curve, you can get the ultimate value. Hope I am able to explain. Krishna?
Yes, sir.
Krishna, are you okay with that explanation?
That was very good, sir.
That's great. Okay, Manish has asked one question: is Plaxis is able to calculate liquefaction? See, for liquefaction potential, there are certain conditions has to be satisfied. Like when you apply the seismic load, it should take care of the pore pressure generation. Okay, and it is available in the model when you give the seismic loading. See, you should make sure that you implement the Brines model. Okay, so you can have your own constitutive model, user-defined constitutive model. You can implement that in the software, and then you can analyze for the liquefaction potential. I know many of the publications where people have used Plaxis and analyze for the liquefaction, but then you have to have your own users defined model for that. Okay, because it is not going to work with the standard model that it has. Munish, are you here? Because I should answer to the person who is present over here.
Yes, sir.
That's great. That's great.
Thank you, sir.
Any other question? Yeah. Any other question? If you want to ask, you can ask by unmuting yourself. Yeah, we will discuss how to get factor of safety for a geotechnical problem when we will solve the slope stability analysis or slope stability problem.
Sir, feedback, feedback form was not shared today.
Pardon, Vikas, Vidya?
Feedback form.
Feedback form I shared. Feedback I shared. So you can fill the feedback form. It is there. I can share again. I can share again. Yeah, it is shared. Now, if I see one more interesting question was there, that Shashank Gaurav, are you here? Shashank? Shashank Gaurav? Because he asked for the not fixing displacement in x direction. When you were solving the flexible footing problem, you were giving the plate element and then applying the load, but you are not fixing the displacement. So that has been explained that in case of rigid footing, you can fix the displacement and then get the load. Okay, but not for the flexible footing. There you apply, you take the plate element and then you apply the load on the footing and then you measure the deformation or displacement. There is question by Abhineet Godial. Abhineet, are you here?
Yes, sir. Hello. Good evening, sir. Yes.
Perfect. I think from your question, I can understand that you are used to this Plexus software. You have used this Plexus software. You are comfortable with this software.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm using this software.
Yeah, that's right.
Actually, I'm working as a geotechnical engineer.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So that's why you are asking this kind of question, because I know that if you have not used this software, then you will never be able to ask this kind of question. But these
So
questions,
this will be, I think, it will be beneficial for all of us to discuss in this platform.
Yes. That's good. That's good. Those questions should be asked. See, that also I can explain in a manner that I normally explain in a very, very simple and crude form. May not be very technical, but then hopefully it is understood by all the audience or different audience that are available here. Now, I'll just give you a very simple example. Suppose this is your footing, this is your soil mass, and you have kept a footing over here. Now, when you apply the load from the top, what do you expect here? Majorly, it will be vertical deformation. Is it not?
Yes, sir.
Here, at this location, it will be vertical deformation. But when you come over here, there will be horizontal and vertical deformation. Both will be there. Is it not?
Yes, sir.
And then resultant will be the vector sum of these two displacements, because displacement is a vector quantity. Is it not? So you get y, ux, uy, okay, and then u.
Sir, your screen is not visible, sir.
Okay. I did not share actually. That is the reason. I'll explain again. Is it okay now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me explain again because I can take the new file. So now what I was explaining, that suppose you have a soil mass, soil ground surface, and then you have kept a footing here, and you have applied the load from the top. Now what do you expect here at these locations? You will be expecting vertical deformation only. Is it not? But when you are here somewhere away from the footing area, so here there will be both horizontal deformation and vertical deformation displacements. So this is ux. If I say this is x and this is y, so you will be getting ux and uy, and then total deformation will be the vector sum of this ux and uy. Is it not? So in some cases we are interested in the horizontal deformation. Like suppose you are let me just explain this excavation problem. Okay, suppose you have excavated a ground like this. So you have excavated a ground, and this ground requires a support system. This requires a support system, something like this. Now you will be here. You will be here, interested in the vertical deformation when you are looking at the ground surface. Is it not? When you are looking at the ground surface, you will be interested in the vertical deformation, because suppose there is a house here, and this house, if there is a vertical deformation observed at the ground surface, that this house is going to settle. Okay, and at these locations, at this AB, you will be interested in the vertical deformation. But when you see the deformation of this vertical cut, here you will be interested in the horizontal deformation, UX. So here you will be interested in UY, but here on CD, on this CD face, you will be interested in the horizontal deformation. So it is all about your interest, whether you want to go for UX or whether you want to go for UY. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
That's great. I think we have covered all the questions, Vidyasagar.
Yes, sir.
So we can close the session now, because it's a dinner time for many. So we can close it and we can rejoin again tomorrow at 7 p.m.
So once again, thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much, all participants.
Let me first stop the recording.